Hello, adventurers, and welcome to the Journals of Thorgrim and Bella. I am your host, the Great Sean, and today I have something that I've been really excited to show for a while. I've been working on it for a really long time, and at this point I think I'm happy with it. I think. So it's an entire class that I've homebrewed from the ground up. It is very unique, kind of. Its playstyle is very unique. Its concept is not, though. I'm not really sure if it's done. Maybe that's not quite right. I'm pretty sure it's done. Whenever I look at it, I don't see anything more I want to add, nor can I think of anything that I think would be good for it that I could add. But at the same time, I also get a sense of, I don't know, emptiness. But you'll see why, because of how the class works, you don't actually get very many abilities yourself. You'll see with that. You get plenty of abilities, and I'm sure it'll feel fine when you actually play it. But it's kind of like Wizard, how when you actually look at the Wizard table, you don't get very many abilities, but you more than make up for it in the actual abilities that you have. So, this class is called the Trainer class. It is kind of inspired by How to Train Your Dragon, or Pokemon, or something like that, where you have a creature that you train. Actually, not just one creature, lots of creatures. You can tame creatures and catch creatures, kind of like Pokemon, and you can have these creatures with you, and they fight for you in combat. I have a feeling, it has not been play tested, but I have a feeling that it's going to feel a lot like Evocation Wizard. Is Evocation the right word? The one where you summon creatures to fight for you? It's gonna kind of feel like that, mixed with Beastmaster Ranger. Cause it's gonna feel like Beastmaster Ranger, cause you can only have one monster at a time. But it also feels like Evocation Wizard. Again, I'm hoping it's Evocation Wizard. You'll probably correct me in the comments and yell at me, but I don't care. Because you have a lot of them, period, and it's less up to you to be casting spells and shooting stuff. It's going to be mostly your monsters unless you're multi-classing, which is another thing why it's not quite done, because I haven't quite set this thing up for multi-classing yet. But I don't know, I might add something later. Anyways, let's actually get into this class and its abilities and stuff and what you get. Okay, so, hit dice. Your hit dice is 1d6 per trainer level. Your hit points at first level is 6 plus your constitution modifier, and your hit points at higher levels is 1d6, or 4, plus your constitution modifier per trainer level after first. So, yeah, that's kind of just copied from the Wizard, because it's supposed to be really squishy, and you're not supposed to be the one up in front dishing out hits. That's, no. Proficiencies. You gain no armor proficiencies. If you're playing this right, that should not come into play at all. Of course, you are going to get hit, but you shouldn't be getting hit often. Okay. Weapons. Weapon proficiencies. Daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, light crossbows, and nets. Nets are actually useful with this one, I think. Tools, no tool proficiencies. Saving throws, wisdom and intelligence. This is a big brain class. Big brain. Because you're not going to be using much of, except for maybe dexterity, you're not going to be using your physical stats much. Okay, so, skills. You get to choose 2 skills from the following list. It's kind of only one, because there's one that you are always going to pick with this one, but you gain 2 from animal handling, that one. Animal handling, nature, investigation, medicine, survival, and insight. You get to pick 2 from those. Okay. Starting equipment. You get either A, a sling, or B, a light crossbow with 20 bolts. A light crossbow with 20 bolts. So a sling or light crossbow with 20 bolts, a quarterstaff or a net, and a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. Alright. Abilities. I have a little class table for this thing written up. I'm not sure if it will translate well into the description. However, I will try to get it there, and if not, I'll get a substitute working just fine. Because you do need to consult the thing for your max catch CR, which you'll hear what that is in a minute. Okay, so first ability, Starter Monster. When you pick this class at level 1, you get to choose a starter monster from any monster of CR 1/8 or lower that your DM lets you pick. This monster will follow your commands as much as it can and will fight beside you in battle. Your starter monster does not roll death saving throws when it runs out of hit points and will always be knocked unconscious. At the start of your turn, you can choose to either control your character or your monster. No matter which you choose, the other will be able to move 5 feet as a free action if you so choose. So, yeah, you get a little guy. This little monster is your friend, and he or she will listen to you, and they will do whatever you say. Also, I should say that the thing can only be a unintelligent creature. It cannot be an intelligent creature. The definition of what's an intelligent creature is chosen by the DM. So, like, for example, just at my table, just because it can speak a language doesn't mean it's an intelligent creature. Like, technically a parrot can speak a language, but that doesn't mean it's an intelligent creature. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, next ability, Catch. Starting at 2nd level, if you find a monster of the appropriate challenge rating for your level, see class table, you may attempt to catch the monster. To do this, make an animal handling check, wisdom, versus 10 plus your creature's CR, plus the intelligence, wisdom, and charisma I apologize. To do this, make a animal handling wisdom check versus 10 plus the creature's CR plus the monster's intelligence, wisdom, and charisma modifiers. Do not include the modifiers if they are negative numbers. You roll with disadvantage if the monster is hostile, and roll with advantage if the monster is below 5% health. You also roll with advantage if the monster's lore specifically states it is difficult to tame. Advantage and disadvantage can cancel each other out. If you succeed, the monster is now completely under your control, permanently, and follows the same rules as your starter monster in terms of how you control them. So they can still die. You can also choose to release the monster from your control if you choose. If you do, the monster will not be hostile to you or your party unless you show aggression to it. You cannot use this ability on an intelligent creature. Again, the exact definition of intelligent creature in this case is chosen by the DM. If you use this ability on a monster and fail, you cannot try it again on that specific creature until they complete a long rest. You cannot use this ability on a monster that is magically under the control of someone else, or has been caught by another trainer. Unless reflavored, this ability is non-magical. So, for example, you can't counterspell this thing. That's not how it works. So, this is kind of inspired by the thing from How to Train Your Dragon, where Hiccup, puts out his hand and closes his eyes and hopes the dragon doesn't rip his arm off and, snuggles his arm. That's kind of what this is. You do what it says, roll what you need the monster, you roll what it says versus the DC that it concocts on there, and if yes, friends! Yay! Friends! Alright, so you might be wondering, where do these monsters go if you have too many of them? Glad you asked. Store Monster. Starting at 2nd level, you gain 2 personal pocket dimensions that you can use to store your surplus monsters. When you catch a monster, the monster is deposited into the primary pocket dimension. You can only have an amount of monsters in your primary pocket dimension equal to your max catch CR. Again, see trainer table. You can only have 1 monster out on the field at one time. As a bonus action, you can switch any monster that is in your primary pocket dimension with the monster that is out on the field, or take the monster that is out on the field and put it in your primary pocket dimension. If you try to catch a monster and you already have a monster out on the field, it gets put in your primary pocket dimension. If the primary pocket dimension does not have enough space to store a monster of that CR, it gets moved to the secondary pocket dimension. The secondary pocket dimension does not have a limit of how much space it can hold, and you can switch monsters between your primary and secondary pocket dimensions after a long rest. So, you have out on the field where you can have 1 monster. You have your primary pocket dimension, which is kind of like your 6 Pokeballs that you have on your belt, and the higher amount of CR monsters you want to have, the less you can have out onto the field. Which, again, you can check down the description to see what levels you can have. I'm pretty sure it's pretty balanced. And then you have your other monsters, which, if we're, again, equating this to Pokemon, that's kind of like your PC, your computer, where it's like, that just has all your monsters that you've just caught on a whim that you don't care about using, or you want to save them for a special occasion or something. Maybe you got like a wyvern in there that you want to have that's like, I'm taking this thing out when we're fighting the big bad evil guy. I don't want him to get hurt, so I'm just kind of leaving him in there. That could be fun. Alright. Locate monster. Starting at 3rd level, by observing your surroundings, if you're in a non-urban environment, you may attempt to locate a certain kind of creature and see if it's in the area. You make a nature intelligence check versus 10 plus the creature's CR. If you succeed, you know how many of that creature is in a 300-foot radius around you, and if there is any, you know the general whereabouts of the closest one. If you wish to look for a specific individual, you must have something that belongs to the individual, and you have to add 5 to the DC. Replace the CR of the individual with their level, if they have any. This action takes 1 hour to complete. So you can kind of just look around and be tracking monsters and stuff, and it's kind of like looking for the footprints. There's an owl bear in these parts, kind of thing. Alright, and starter monster improvement. At levels 5, 9, 13, 17, and 20, your starter monster grows in power with you. I have a whole bunch of examples of what changes are made at what level, but I'll only read the first one to just kind of give you an idea of the general flow of the advancements. At level 5, add 36 to your starter monster's original HP, and consider this your monster's new HP. Your starter monster is now considered challenge rating 1/4. See? There. And, see, this is kind of what I'm talking about. That's all the abilities that this class has. It is super simple from your perspective of you don't have very many abilities. All your abilities, where they come from, are your monsters. Your monsters are where you're getting all your abilities. So I kind of think that's cool that you like have your like a little bit of monsters in your primary pocket dimension. You're switching them out depending on what ability you need at that point. You can, and in battle, you can be fighting with them, and if you think that your monster is going to go down and you don't want them to die, you can, like on your turn, instead of be controlling your monster, you control you, and as a bonus action, switch out what monster you want, and then that monster is out and about doing their own thing, attacking people, and you get to control them on your initiative. Which, yeah, I think that's cool. So, this class has not been playtested, so it's probably not perfectly balanced. So, if you would like to give your balance suggestions, please put them down in the comments section down below. If you want to play this, feel free, go ahead. I would love you to play my class. That would be awesome. And as always, have fun.